Hello everyone, May the 4th be with you. Welcome to Bragging About Cinema. Today we're going to do my first ever Star Wars action movie countdown. So there's going to be no animated, there's going to be no series. Every year I see these great lists and everyone's opinions. Well, I want to give you my opinion on this because Star Wars to me is really where it starts with my movie fandom. Star Wars as a little kid is my favorite movie. I've probably rewatched Star Wars more than anything. And I love all the movies, spoiler alert, even though I'm going to rank them from 11 on down. I'm going to give you what I like. I'm going to give you the things that I think could improve. And then we're going to move on to the next one. So I don't want to focus too much because you all have already seen them. So why would I tell you what the stories are about? So without further ado, let's go. Number 11. So the famous thing about Star Wars is that it started on episode 4. And after watching the original trilogy, everyone is scratching their heads wondering, what about episode 1 through 3? So, number 11, probably my least favorite, is The Phantom Menace. When I was anticipating this one coming out, we hadn't seen a Star Wars movie in a long time. Everyone was so excited. If you ever get a chance to watch my friend's channel, Bearded Radness, he is a huge Star Wars fan. He made the paper, Dark Side B, because he was in line with a countdown sign. And I couldn't wait to watch this. I got in the movie and I was like, ooh. So what do I like about it? Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan Kenobi. Thought he did fantastic. Qui-Gon Jinn was your first Jedi outside of Luke Skywalker. And he embodied everything I thought a Jedi should be. It was unfortunate that he did not make it past this one, and we never saw him again. Darth Maul is, to this day, one of my top favorite villains in the Star Wars universe. His double-sided lightsaber, the epic duel at the end where we thought Darth Maul was also killed. Okay, so what do I think this could have improved? I didn't like that they started Anakin so young. I thought we should have at least met him when he was an older teenager. So this was really a kid's movie, and this is the one that I showed my kids when they first started watching it, and they loved it. It's focused on the pod races. It's a little kid saving the day. I didn't like how he accidentally got into the starfighter, accidentally made his way in to destroy the shield generator to save the day, just like Luke Skywalker. I don't like the accidentally storytelling as much. So that's one thing I didn't really enjoy too much. I thought Jar Jar Binks was he's kind of annoying, and he's still annoying when I watch The Phantom Menace. But other than that, overall, I still do keep it in my rotation when I do a Star Wars marathon because I'm a Star Wars fan. Number 10, Attack of the Clones, and I promise you I am not a prequel hater. This one, we kind of weren't sure where we were going to go after Phantom Menace. You killed off the awesome bad guy. You killed off the really cool Jedi, so now we're left with a young Obi-Wan Kenobi who's supposed to train Anakin Skywalker. Well, this is where they did the time jump to an older actor, which I feel like if we had the same actor through the whole trilogy, it would have had better continuity. And the big mission on this one I liked because it set Anakin's arc up for being the bad guy. You found that he had a lot of anger issues. He was the Jedi that wanted to rush. I also really liked the big arena when every lightsaber lit up. I tell you, I saw this movie multiple times in the theaters. Goosebumps every time. I also love this one for the visuals and the sound. That sonic blast bomb that went off in the theaters. I wish my home theater was good enough to recreate that feeling. Unfortunately, it isn't. That's why I watch Star Wars movies so many times in the theater. I also was a huge fan of Count Dooku. I thought he was a great villain. And we got to see Yoda fight lightsabers. That was awesome. We also learned that all the clones were cloned after Boba Fett's dad. Now, what did I dislike or thought they could have improved? I've never really bought the Padme Anakin love story. I felt like the lines were too cheesy. The way they did them, I just didn't get that feeling. And I'm a sucker for a good love story. I'm the guy that cries at the end of Notebook. But I just did not feel like those two were actually in love. I also felt the movie was just really long, but I still enjoy it. I wish we could have seen more with the bounty hunters, and I wish we could have gotten into the action a little quicker. I really wanted to see Anakin the war hero, which we had heard about in the original trilogy, but up to this point, even at the end of this movie, we still hadn't really seen Anakin the war hero, and that really left a lot to be put into Revenge of the Sith. All right, number 9 is The Last Skywalker. See, I told you I wasn't a prequel hater. This movie was kind of put in a tough spot. The directors decided not to really communicate too well after the first one, and then we had The Last Jedi that tried to cancel everything that was in Force Awakens, and then we had the tragic passing of Carrie Fisher. So where they were going to go with this one is anybody's guess, but there was things I liked about it. The first thing I liked about it was that they get the big three back together. That was Poe Dameron, Finn, and Rey. I thought their on-screen chemistry was an underrated highlight of the last trilogy, and I really hope that we get another chance to see them. I know that's not a popular opinion. I enjoyed watching the three of them on screen together. Now, the other thing I actually did like that they brought Palpatine back and made him more of like a horror movie vibe. I was pretty unsure going in if I was going to like it, but I actually really enjoyed it. Now, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, Chewbacca's death. When I watched that in the movie theaters, I actually gasped. I couldn't believe they killed him. And obviously, they turned out they didn't. But it got me the first time. When you rewatch it, you don't have that same feeling. I also thought they did an okay job of saying goodbye to Carrie Fisher's character, although I think they could have done a little better. I would have probably wanted like a big funeral, almost like they did for Padme. So what didn't I like? The movie was kind of a little bit all over the place. Kylo Ren's character arc, he ended up being a good guy. I don't think we saw a good enough tug and pull of him between the light and the dark. Seemed like he kind of just gave up. I'd never ever liked the dyad in the Force, where him and Rey were connected, where they could pass things on to each other with lightsabers. I just hated that. I thought this was going to be the Knights of Ren's redemption. It wasn't. What else didn't I like? Oh, General Hux. He was a character I love-hate, and we'll get to more of that soon. I just didn't like the way they ended him. I thought he was kind of a unique character, the way he was a borderline good villain, borderline comedic performance. We also had the Final Order, which is no longer the First Order. I just think stuff like that's lazy writing. Why not just call them the New Empire or something? But calling them the Last Order, I don't know, that's kind of cheesy. And then finding out that Palpatine was really pulling the strings through the entire 9 movies, it's kind of, I don't know, I didn't like that. Because it shouldn't be the Skywalker trilogy. If that's true, it should be the Palpatine trilogy. I mean, having Rey be Princess Palpatine, I guess that was all right. I didn't have strong emotions either way about that. I think I'd almost want her to be her own person, or I would have loved to have her be Luke Skywalker's daughter or something like that. There's so many ways it could have gone. I just think the way they ended it was just not as fun as it could have been. Number 8, we're going to move away from the Palpatine trilogy, and we're going to go to Solo. This was the second of the kind of offshoot movies that came out. This one kind of got stuck with the Last Jedi's fallout. People were either loved it or absolutely hated it, and I think they were still angry on the internet. So when Solo came out, they took it out on Solo, which is unfortunate because I felt it was a far better Star Wars movie than it gets the credit. And you can see now that people have cooled down, it gets a little more credit. So what did I like about it? I liked the new characters. I thought they were well written. I thought Woody Harrelson's character, the gangster that kind of shows Han Solo how to be a criminal. And I liked his girlfriend also, the Crimson Underground, Paul Bettany's Dryden Voss, and all of the people they met along the way. Lando's droid was quite interesting, that he loved his droid. A little strange, but it worked. Also, the actor that played Lando, thought he nailed it. Out of all the recasts done so far, he is by far the best. I also thought it was a solid action movie from the start to finish. It left you wanting more because of the tease of Darth Maul. So I love and hate that because they haven't followed up on it yet. Now, in the movies, I was like, but now I'm like, all right, when are we going to see this guy again? The other thing I didn't like, kind of back to the lazy writing, his name is Solo because he couldn't think of a last name. I thought that was kind of dumb. Other than that, though, there's not a lot I can pick apart about this movie because I enjoyed it so much. All right, number 7. It's time to rip the Band-Aid off, folks. This is where I'm going to get the hate comments. Star Wars A New Hope. Bear with me here. Bear with me before you stop watching. What I like about this one is it's my introduction to Star Wars. I love Han Solo, Leia, Chewie, Obi-Wan Kenobi. We got to meet this cool Darth Vader. What I did not, and even as a kid, I found this annoying, is Luke Skywalker's acting. Some of the way he says things, he reminds me of a young Anakin actor, or even some of the actors in the second trilogy or third trilogy. I think that he, as an actor, Mark Hamill, got so much better for episodes 5 and 6. So for some reason, even today when I watch it, I just have a hard time. Now, granted, it is the one that set it all off, and without this one, we wouldn't have Star Wars. But it doesn't get me as excited to rewatch it like some of the other ones. And even, like I said, when I was a kid, I didn't get quite as excited. If you're still watching, thank you. I know that's a little controversial. I'm not a pot soup stirrer, but I had to tell you how I feel. Rogue One is up next. This is another one that is the offshoot from the Palpatine saga. And everyone was hotly anticipating this one because we had never really seen a separate Star Wars adventure, and there was so many planned. It's unfortunate because both of them were good. Now, Rogue One, what did I like? Again, characters. Star Wars excels at characters. I liked Jyn Erso. I liked Mad Mikkelsen's character. I liked the villain in this one. I liked all of the characters. The droid, I thought he was funny and he was serious at the same time. I loved the way that there was some serious stakes in this one. In fact, everybody dies at the end. And the number one thing about this movie that got me out of my seat, there's a few Star Wars moments that got me out of my seat, and the Darth Vader scene, which I hear it was an addition to the movie, is one of my favorite Darth Vader scenes, where he just comes in and just tears it up. No remorse. He needs the plans to that star. He doesn't want Princess Leia, he doesn't even know is his daughter, getting those plans. What I didn't like, Saw Gerrera was barely in it. The ad campaign really focused on him, played by Forrest Whitaker, and he was hardly in the movie. He seemed like a cool character. He's a cool character on the shows. And then some of these characters I'd really like to see more of. Thankfully, Disney Plus has a show, Andor, coming out that's a prequel to this movie. But Jyn Erso, I thought she played great. I would love to see her in the Star Wars universe even more, but she's gone. All right, it's time to talk about the most divisive Star Wars film of all time. Number 5, The Last Jedi. Now, there's so many ways they could have done this movie, and people wanted to see their hero save the day, as promised in Force Awakens. The whole point of Force Awakens was to find Luke Skywalker, to get rid of Kylo Ren and this mysterious Snoke. Well, that's not what happened. We got this grumpy Jedi-hating Luke Skywalker who basically had to be forced to train Rey. And it's not what I expected, but I'm glad they did it because I watch movies because I want to be surprised. I genuinely wasn't bothered that we didn't get the triumphant return of Luke. I wish we could have at least seen the OG cast together at some point, but that's all right. What else I liked? The fight scene in the throne room with Snoke and Rey and Kylo, when Snoke is going on his monologue about killing Rey and Kylo is secretly turning the lightsaber. It's one of my favorite Star Wars scenes of all time, hands down. I also really liked Poe Dameron's character progression as he goes from being this fly by the seat of his pants fighter pilot to, more of a leader. Now, what didn't I like? So Force Awakens was a movie I really enjoyed. And I thought that they really just tried their best to cut everything out of that movie that made it interesting. Now, we wanted to learn Rey's heritage. She's nothing. Well, that's what they told us. This cool Snoke character, gone. Kylo Ren's cool looking mask, gone. So I didn't really like that. I also didn't like they split the team up of Rey, Finn, and Poe. I thought together they were kind of a really fun, at least if two of them were together, they were a really fun group to watch, and I loved them in Force Awakens. And they cut that out too. The other thing, the opening scene, I absolutely hate the way that they make Hux look like a complete buffoon. This is where I say he's either just a comedic punching bag or he's a brilliant villain. I thought this made him look stupid, and I wish that they didn't do that, where they pretending Poe is calling him and he can't hear him. Like, I didn't like that at all. Everything else, though, I didn't mind Rose. I thought the way they were bombing the ships, making it look like a World War II kind of bomber. I know people complain and said, hey, that wouldn't happen in space. Okay, well, a lot of things in the movie wouldn't happen. It's a science fiction movie. I don't take these that seriously, so that stuff didn't bother me. Number 4 is Revenge of the Sith. Now, this one, we all knew it was coming. They didn't shy away from it in the promotion. Vader's coming. Anakin's going to make the turn in this movie, so everyone was excited. Get to some of the opening scene, some of the best effects I've ever seen in a movie. The visuals, the space battle, the crashing of the ships, them killing Count Dooku right off, so you knew the stakes were going to be high. And we already knew before it even started. A lot of bad things were going to happen in this movie. I think Star Wars is at its best when it has dark tones. I also really like General Grievous, the way he had the 4 lightsabers and the way he kind of took it to the Jedi. I thought Obi-Wan shined bright in this one. I liked the way they made Anakin they made the Jedi Council seem like they weren't as good as everyone thought. Everyone thought the Jedi were just this beacon of light, Captain America style, but really they have flaws too. And really the Jedi are also partially accountable for Anakin's return Anakin's turn is because they were doing stuff that was against their rules, exactly what they don't want the Sith to do. I also liked Sidious's push to get him to turn to the dark side. I still had trouble with the love story, which is really the catalyst for Anakin to becoming Darth Vader. I thought the last battle was pretty fun. Don't take the high ground. And the way that Obi-Wan just sliced him up, it really makes me hotly anticipate Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, I didn't like that we got Vader at the very end. I wish that we could have got him somewhere in the beginning. And really, this movie set the tone for why people are so fearful of him. We don't really see a lot of him in the original trilogy where he sets up that he's the baddest man on the planet. And in fact, if you go back and rewatch the original trilogy, some of them almost doubt of his supreme beingness. All right, number 3, probably the next most divisive Star Wars movie, Force Awakens. Again, long period between Revenge of the Sith and this movie, and we didn't think we'd actually get this one. So, hotly anticipated. I went, this is the first time I've ever gone to an opening night. The people cheered every time the crawl came down or an OG character popped in. And I thought this actually lived up to the hype. I know now people think it's a cut and paste of A New Hope. I really liked the new actors. I liked Rey as our new hero trying to find her way in the galaxy, similar to Luke. I liked the way Finn left the bad guys. That's something we had not seen yet. And that gave us kind of a little insight into the First Order. Thought the First Order was kind of a really cheesy name. We also got to meet Captain Phasma, who really doesn't get her due. She's just a set piece. Very much like Boba Fett in the original trilogy. If you ever get to read her book, she is a lot cooler than they make her out to seem. I liked Rey's relationship with Han Solo. I thought they had great chemistry, the way they played off each other with the Millennium Falcon. I thought Kylo Ren looked cool. His temper tantrums were a little strange, but I thought he was a neat character. What didn't I like? First of all, every review leading up to that, this is pre-bragging about cinema, said, oh, don't talk about Luke, that's too spoilery. So I went in thinking something epic. And he was not in it. Hardly at all, except for the last few minutes. All he did was... they killed Han Solo without any... we knew that he was Kylo's father, but I think this would have been helped with some backstory, at least shown Ben pre Kylo Ren, and then we started to care about the character. We understood like why he was changed. They almost told the story out of order, and we were just they were playing off us not wanting to lose an original character instead of making this a real big build up, and then we understood a little more. People were genuinely outraged that Han Solo was killed, and it didn't bother me, but I thought they could have done him better. I also love the scene where he's fighting Finn. We all think Finn's going to be the next Jedi. That's when you find out it's actually Rey. I actually thought they were going to do 2 Jedi, which they almost kind of did in Rise of the Skywalker, but we've already passed Rise of the Skywalker. I also didn't like that we had yet another planet killer. So we had the Death Star, the half-finished Death Star, and now we had the Star Killer base. I was like, all right, that's enough. No more planet-killing machines. All right, number 2, Empire Strikes Back. Should this be tied for number 1? Maybe. What I liked about this one, this is where we find out the twist of all twists. Luke, I am your father. Do I need to say more? Well, I liked the winter fighting on Hoth, fighting the abominable snowman. I liked when they're trying to get away from the Empire and then they kind of break up. I actually didn't like that they kind of broke up the team. I liked Han Solo, Leia, and Luke all together, and Chewie. Thought that's when they were at their best. I really liked see Luke getting trained by Yoda, though. That kind of taught us more about the Jedi. I love Lando's character when we got to meet him in the Sky City. And this is my first movie that I feel like that really had just a sad ending. There's nothing really positive other than they did save Luke, even though he lost his hand. And then, of course, poor Han is frozen in carbonite. And as a little kid watching the movie, it felt like it just didn't have a good ending. Like, okay, where's the rest? It just ended. As an adult, I appreciate it more. But that leads us to number 1. Return of the Jedi, number 1. Now, this one, I do remember the build-up, the promotional campaign. I had seen the other 2. I was still really young. I believe I was around 4 years old. And it's got me hooked. Why I love this one is the character arc of Skywalker is complete. The fighting scene between him and Vader, as we learn is his father, I think it gets me every time. I love the music, the way they play. It just makes it a full climactic moment. The Ewoks overpowering the stormtroopers, that's a little cheesy. It definitely devalued them quite a bit. I just love that they got the squad back together. I love the opening where they're in Jabba Hutt's palace trying to free Han. I love it when Luke gets in the pit and he's trying to save himself, and then that's when you start to realize that's not the same Luke Skywalker from the other movies. And I love this one. I think it just completes it well. I love the ending, the music when they're all playing the drums on the stormtroopers' helmets and everybody's celebrating. If you watch all those movies together, it feels like a great 3-movie set. And so it's hard for me to pick between Empire Strikes Back and this one, but I love that this one really finished off the trilogy well. That completes my 11 movie countdown. If you stuck with me this whole time, you're my new favorite watcher. Thank you very much. I would love to hear your comments down below. What do you think? Do I think I'm just completely off? I know Star Wars talk can get pretty divisive. People get really upset. I like to have fun with it. I love these movies, and I'm sure you do too. If you didn't love them, you probably wouldn't be so passionate about your opinion. Now, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you think. And when you watch my videos, you're gonna find something to brag about.